Hey, what up, YouTube? This your man, Bouchon Glover. And I put in the captions that democracy is dead in America because it is. And I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm gonna be frank and transparent. Because, let me turn this down a little bit, because democracy is dead in America. When I say democracy is dead in America, it's because we are learning and understanding that it's time to embrace something totally different. Something totally different. It's time to embrace something totally different. And when you look at the climate of the world today, and where we are as people, there's no way we can continue on this axle that is broken. There's no way we can continue to literally march to hell, because our political pundits and our elected officials, they are compromised. And I'm gonna be totally honest with you, they are compromised. Yesterday, Cori Bush, a Democratic senator from Missouri, she ripped a new one to Merrick Garland, the top cop, Biden's appointee, the head of the Department of Justice. And she talked about, mass incarceration. She talked about a constitutional amendment. And she did give him some credit about the insurrectionists, but we understand what that truly means. But democracy is dead, because democracy is a term that only a politician would use if he or she is compromised. I'm gonna say that again. Democracy is a term that an individual will use if he or she is compromised. And anybody that's elected up until this point, they're literally compromised. Hold on a second. So that's what happens when you go live and you're not prepared. Okay, but I think we're gonna get it. Okay, there we go. Because it's supposed to at least have a little bit of your head showing. So listen, man. For the first time in our lives, we get an opportunity to set the record straight. For the first time in our lives, we get an opportunity to do the will of God, literally, for the first time in our lives. Because up to this point, we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, and this is why we're running amok right now. We've been through some situations in terms of defund the police and all of that. We've been through the George Floyd, situation. But right now, the deal is over, because in California, they literally are investing in policing. They're making arrests for the flash mobs, and nobody's hearing anything about it. But this is why we got to get in front of this, because it's all political. And when I say it's all political, what I'm saying is, if you are an elected official, literally you work for the government. And this is the key to this video, okay? Now, to this live stream. And what we're embracing is straight politics. We're not to the left, we're not to the right, straight, right there in the middle, because it's clear that there's a changing of the guard. America's southern border is broken and it's beyond repairable at this time. And as long as we sit back and lie in bed with American democracy, as long as we sit back and uphold our politicians and give them power, then we are literally aiding and abetting the demise of God's people. So you're talking about genocide. We have had over 1.5 million immigrants come through the southern border, unvetted. We know without a shadow of a doubt, if 1% of the 1.5 is bad actors, then you're talking about thousands of people coming into this country. And we remember Al Qaeda brought in some of those through the southern borders, learned how to fly planes and all of that stuff. So we are not going to sit back and let this thing happen again, because we all know that insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. Now, when you look at the government, democracy, let's really think about that word, democracy. Democracy is dead. And when I'm saying democracy is dead, is because it's dying right before our eyes. Okay, and we are not going to resuscitate. We're not going to breathe breath into it because we finally understand our position and we got our marching orders. And our marching orders is to abandon this policy, abandon the politics, and move closer to God Almighty. Now, I could care less of what you call your God, and I'm a Christian, but you could be any man or woman of faith, and we can actually be on the same sheet of music because there's only one God, and we're saying the same thing. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure thou shalt not kill, murder, lie, steal, all into what we're really talking about. So now we get an opportunity to be real with it. And when I say real with it, it's just keep it 100 so we can be straight. We don't have to lie. We don't have to do none of the things that they want us to do. We just got to be totally honest and transparent of what's really going on to basically, set our lives straight. So share, like, subscribe, because we got to crack these algorithms. And I got some information from YouTube, and they said that they're not going to start shadow banning the politics because, what happened the last time. We allowed something to happen and transpire and come into place that we can't even think about. We can't even consider, being a part of. This is why we have to do what we got to do. And number one, we have to understand what democracy really is. So if we don't know what democracy really is, then it can actually live on forever. The science of Willie Lynch says, we could do this for hundreds, if not thousands of years, unless, a phenomenon happened. And the phenomenon is the internet. I'm gonna say this again, the phenomenon is the internet. So you can't lie, you can't do anything but have a governing body that can actually, control the algorithms, that can actually cancel people, that can shut their sites down just to hide the truth. But the truth is undefeated. So this is where we are right now as a people, as a culture. And we understand that culture is one thing, but we are embracing freedom. And freedom comes with, no association with either of the parties. How can you be free under the banter of democracy? How can you be free under the banter of a Republican when all they do in democracy is lie, cheat, and steal against one another? So these are things that we have to talk about. These are things that we have to really pay attention to. And these are things that we have to have these conversations about, because there is no way we could continue on this broken axle. There's no way we could continue to feed democracy because we know what it truly is. Now, if you take something from someone and if you don't give them something better, they are literally going to repeat the behavior. So if you tell a Crip stop gangbanging, and then next thing you know, he's going to turn around and be a Blood because he don't have any options. But this is why we are here today, and the revolution is being televised, because the revolution is theocracy. Because you have to understand what democracy is. Democracy is ruled by the devil. The prefix of democracy is descend, debunk, debate. And debate is nothing but arguing just a point so you can have an audience have to pick and choose between the two people that was in the argument. But theocracy, there's no argument. There's prayer and supplication. We're looking out for everyone, and the rules have to be right. And the beautiful thing about embracing theocracy is the fact that we can actually expose and shame the devil. And anybody that tried to defend democracy is literally defending the devil. Because if you have to have an enemy, that's the devil. God don't have no enemies. Okay, and we are the children, of Abraham. We are the descendants. We are the ones that have to be the promise keepers and keep the flame lit to actually get to that next level. But if we don't step up right now, we're going to be just as guilty as charged. So now, as Americans, especially Black Americans, we get a chance to, cleanse our souls and be free, because democracy feeds off of the destruction, the demoralization, the demonization, the demonic aspects of fighting. Okay, when you debate, you're literally in a verbal warfare. You're fighting amongst each other. You're arguing. You're debating. How can we move forward when there has to be winners and losers? We all want to win. So there's no way we can continue on this broken axle. But this is why democracy is under the microscope, and this is why I put in the caption that democracy is dying. Okay, and it's a beautiful situation that the sitting president, Joseph Robinette Pinocchio Nose Biden, is the bearer of the past. And it's crazy how he's in office, the only living segregationist who happens to be the president of the United States, and he's absent and no one is at the wheel. So if we were sitting in a car, in the passenger seat, and the car start rolling downhill, how long will you just sit there and allow the car to go downhill without a driver, unless you jump into the driver's seat and start driving and take control of not only yourself, but your community? And this is what we're doing because there is no one at the wheel. No one's driving this train, no one's driving this ship, no one's driving this car. So we're gonna have to get in the driver's seat and drive it to the promised land. And our major task is to get democracy out of the way. Now, when you think about government, okay? The Constitution does not say we the government. The Constitution says we the people. So if we are the people, how does that factor in when you got a government that's making all the decisions for the people? See, that's the trick, that's the switch, that's the magic trick that they do, because the Constitution says we the people. The Pledge of Allegiance says, one nation under God, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. So if America is a republic, not Republican, because Republicans practice democracy, because their arch enemy is the Democracy Party. So the Republicans have lost their soul, lost their flavor, and has joined in this demonic cultish type situation to actually end the world as we know it, if you just pay attention. How can we be living in a world right now where there's war going on everywhere, open southern border, they're bringing millions and millions of people into the United States? Those are our replacements because they see the data. They see how we feel. They hear what we say. So they know we are not going to fall for the okie doke this time around. So they need to open that border, not talk about it, lie to the American people and make sure that they have a subordinate party coming in because of what they did when they came to America. I mean, you got hundreds of thousands of people coming through the southern border. And right now they're bringing in the Venezuelans. It was a brother down in Eagle Pass, Texas, and he asked me, "Donde está?" And they all, Venezuela, hundreds of people. And I'm sitting back like, wow, why are they allowing these people to come in? And then the Biden administration or the Democracy administration has actually put in work release programs so they can actually give jobs. And we are struggling in our community. Our youth is going astray, flash mobs, doing all types of things, taking penitentiary chances. So why aren't we in our communities offering, work release programs and jobs and opportunities to the American citizens? Because democracy says, no, we are not going to invest in Black Americans. We are not going to do none of that. So this is why we have to denounce American democracy, embrace theocracy, because democracy is ruled by the devil. Look it up. And theocracy is ruled by God. So when you rule by God, we literally will pray together, make a common, denominator and come up with things that can actually make everybody and all parties happy, because, we don't want nobody left behind. We don't want no issues. And we want it to be a win-win situation because all souls belong to God. So when you look at the government and you look at the Constitution, the title of the Constitution, we the people, so we the people, okay, the Pledge of Allegiance to the Republic for which it stands, one nation under God, a God-fearing republic. Okay, so literally, newsflash, breaking news, we are the republic. We are the supreme people, the supreme power people that's going to embrace the Constitution and set the record straight, because the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So we back on deck again. And if you pay attention and look around, there's all kind of, ethnicities and cultures and groups that has been championed over the last 60 years, and we back up again because we never, decided to get on the same sheet of music because of the miseducation, and the talented temps typically sign a deal with the 1% and then lead the people to slaughter. So now the people are getting a grand understanding and a grand uprising to really know and understand what time it is. So this is how we win, because we must reject democracy, which means rule by the devil, and embrace theocracy, because we live in a God-fearing republic. I'm gonna say this again: to the republic which stands one nation under God. So when we say evildoers in high places, what is that? The government and those who influence the government. So it's not about right or wrong, it's about powers, principalities, evildoers in high places. So now when we say them or they, we can actually say the government. Republican, Democrat, it does not matter. The government is the enemy. So how can you be a God-fearing republic and have a democratic system that forces the people to shut up and have two political parties fighting each other to make decisions of people they don't even know, don't feel, don't understand, never been in our communities, don't talk to us. They just look at us as enabled bodies. They look at us as, not a benefit, but a problem. This is why they are allowing migrants to come in the southern borders by the droves, because we are literally trying to get our lives together and really understand, because the last presidential election was vote for the lesser of the two evils, okay? This one is pick your poison, but this one right now, it is what it is. We're not here to change anything. We're just here to give you an option and here to fulfill. Because if you embrace democracy, that's fine, but you have to understand what it really is. And if you pay attention to the data, we got 60 years of evidence of an epic fail, and there's no way we could continue on this broken axle, and there's no way we can be dormant, and right now is the perfect time. We're going into 2024, and that number 4 is culture or freedom. So this time around, we're going to choose freedom, because the culture is what they captivate and catch and make sure that they control by just giving a limited few opportunities, so we can try to strive to be like Mike, but there's only one Michael Jordan ever. So how can we strive to be like Mike? We should be striving to be our best selves. And when I say we should be striving to be our best selves, I mean that. So this is why we have to denounce democracy. This is why we have to embrace theocracy. Because like I said, the government is the enemy of the people. Because the government select individuals, which we do, but the government influencers make the decision on who they want in office, because they can actually just give them a blank check and go tell them to do exactly what to do. And if you or myself is hired by a company or corporation, we're going to follow the employee handbook to a T. We're going to make sure we do everything correctly, just like the elected official. So an elected official is compromised, because there's no way you can run for public office without the aid of donors, without the aid of influencers, without the aid of government influencers. And these are the individuals a part of that 1%. Now that the 1% is starting to age out, they are literally trying to have conversations with common folk to right the wrong. So through all the think tanks and through all the studies, now we know that we have to leave democracy to die, okay? And I'm speaking metaphorically, okay? And YouTube has promised that they're not going to be blocking videos, and they're not going to allow the government, which is evildoers in high places, to control the output, because look what happened, with the misinformation, starting with the Hillary and Trump, and then it became what it is now. So now the truth shall make us free, and we're going to just, speak the truth. This is why the hashtag is straight politics. We're not to the left, we're not to the right, we're straight, okay? And in geometry, the quickest way to a point is a straight line, okay? And then if you want to understand God, it's straight up. So we're not to the left, we're not to the right. And it's crazy that we have so many examples, like Jesus' last words. He was on the cross with 2 individuals. One was a scribe, one was a Pharisee. One got saved actually while he was just before he was about to be killed. And Jesus promised that he will see paradise in heaven. So when Jesus transcended and was persecuted and died, and on the 3rd day he rose, he left a spot open for us right in the middle. And this is why we have to be straight. This is why we can't veer to the left or veer to the right, because if we hit that crossroad and go down Republican Boulevard or go down Democratic Avenue, then we're going to be in another pickle. And it takes hundreds, if not thousands of years for us to get out, because there's a group of people that has outlived in the biblical 400-year prophecy. And God's not a man, he can't lie. So basically, God allowed us to be cursed until now because he knew that right now is the right opportunity for us to fix it, because everything is being exposed. So we're going to have to use this momentum, have courage and strength, and come together as one nation under God. And when I say come together as one nation under God, it's not about race. It's not about none of that. It's about class. But before we can move to class, then there have to be some constitutional amendments. It have to be some cash payouts, some land grabs and all of that, so we can balance the scales. So then we can talk about class. If we don't end the chapters on race in America, then they're going to continue to use these racial issues to make sure that they keep a subordinate group of people, and they continue to allow us to be enslaved metaphorically in 2023. Because the Constitution has a criminalization clause. Crime does pay, and they call it human assets, okay? And the only way we can get past these human assets, and the only way we can get past all of the crap that they're giving us, is to basically stand up, become tribal, have a narrative, have a conversation, and basically tap out of America's democracy system, because the Democratic Party should not be here today. And the only reason that they are today is because they embrace democracy, and democracy tells, it has no truth to it. Democracy will be willing to do anything to exist. Just like when you have these politicians, they lie through their teeth. And I think lying is a prerequisite to be a politician, because if you are a truth bearer, they're not going to, single you out for the job. So these people are out here lying. Okay, they said today that the Democratic Party said today that there is not an issue at the southern border. That is a bald-faced lie. And then they lie about progress. If you got knocked on your fanny or on your butt last year, and this year you're standing up, it's not cool to brag and pop your collar, okay, about the progress. Oh, he was down and now he's up. But if you knocked us down, you want benefits to, you want some kudos for picking us up? No, you shouldn't have knocked us down, okay? So now we are literally understanding the real, okay? So like I said, like, share, subscribe, because we got to crack this algorithm, because we have to have these conversations. There's no way we can continue on acting as if we can move forward as a people with the same laws in effect, with the same criminalization clause, with the same, energy to basically replace us. Because if you pay attention, last year, a whole bunch of Haitians came down to the southern border, and they was under the freeway overpass. And what did they do? They sent them back to Haiti. Right now, they're bringing in hundreds of thousands of people from Venezuela, and they're giving them work release paperwork so they can actually come to this nation and work. And we've been sitting here the whole time, but why can't you help our youth? Why can't you, get with these social working programs and, and earmark some positions for people of color, or the people that's affected living in the communities of color? But they rather bring an immigrant in, because they know that immigrant and his homies, they're gonna hook up with the FBI, the CIA, with those COINTEL programs, coming to our communities and rain terror. So these people are not afraid of cops. These people are not afraid to come into our communities. If you've been on a journey to come into America and it took you 2 months and you went through a third world country, get into South Central, you were in paradise. And then getting with the wrong, getting those penitentiary chances offered to you, because we're not embracing that anymore. They can't infiltrate us. Okay, when we look right at them, we know that you guys are informants. We know that you guys are doing something, out of the norm. This is why they're trying to replace us. But while they're trying to replace us, we need to let them know that we are denouncing American democracy as we see it. Because these two political parties is the catalyst for the demise of not only Black Americans, but God's people. Okay, we're not going to sit back and allow the devil to continue without us reacting. Every situation gets an action, and in this case we want a corrective action, okay, because we cannot continue to do the same thing. So we will not be voting for Joseph Robinette Biden or Donald J. Trump or anybody. Okay, we got one of the strongest writing candidates known to God, and that's God himself. So Jesus Christ is our writing candidate. The Green Party got Dr. Cornel West. We're not trying to change anything. We're just trying to make sure that we shut down the party of slavery, that we shut down the party of Jim Crow. We shut down the party of the black codes hanging and lynching, and somehow we think that those are Republicans. See, these are the lies that they tell us, okay? Because if we're going to be a great nation, we don't need, no ops or no enemies. And if we do have ops and enemies, let that be a whole nother country, okay? Because we do, have wars and things like that. But why are we not doing what we need to do right now as a people? And that's making sure we all are covered, that we all are, taken care of. So I need you to really start thinking, pray, please pray, because prayer changes things, and really understand that we can no longer continue doing this. There's no way. Democracy is dead in America, and it will be buried with Joe Biden, okay? Now, and it's beyond resuscitation when it comes to Black America, but if you are an elected official, I see you, keep doing your job, and we'll have a sidebar conversation, because we don't want to take money out your pockets. We don't want you to, you fought this hard in your career, so we don't want you to, to risk any of that. But just you just understand, when you're ready to flip the script and bring, what you bring to the table, we're going to be right here waiting for you. Because a better Black America is a place where we are seeking solutions and resolutions. Black men march on LA. We got our marching orders. And like I said, the man came first. So it's really a man thing, because men protect the women and children. Okay, women protect women and children. Men protect men, women, and children. So we have to really get in front of this, fly to higher heights and not allow the past to discourage us from doing what's right now in these days and times that we're living in, because you have to really feel the energy. There's so much going on in the world that we got to communicate, and we got to catch this wave, because this is an opportunity to basically do the will of God and to do right. Okay, we can't sit back and continue on this wrong axle. And like I said, democracy is dead, okay? Because according to Webster, according to Strong, according to Oxford, even in the Urban Dictionary, democracy means ruled by the devil. The prefix D, D-E, descend, debunk, death. Okay, the root word demo means demon, diablo, or devil. The word crat, which is the suffix, means to rule. It don't get no plainer than that, okay? So when you talk about, the people, and when you talk about evildoers in high places, you have to associate the government with the evildoers in high places, because the evildoers in high places are the donors who fund the government to make the decisions that they do make, okay? The Constitution says, we the people, okay? The Pledge of Allegiance to the Republic, which it stands. So to the Republic. Republic means supreme power. So you got supreme power in the people. So the power is in the people. So the people have to have the conversations and motivate and influence the lawmakers to put into law what the people decide. But democracy means do not allow them to establish themselves. Make them an enabled group of people, make them liabilities, and then we can control every move, because we are literally, forcing our hand and making sure that we got a terrible condition. Okay, so church and state has to merge. Okay, this is why we are reaching out now and having these conversations, because church and state is very important, because church and state in its original form, the people who wrote the Constitution, man, they prayed. The framers was really trying to do something right. But somehow, the rule by the devil party has created a system or ecosystem to where if you do participate in American politics, you got to pick a party, okay? And then you have to play by the rules of democracy because the Democratic Party sets the bar. The Democratic Party, really is the catalyst, so the Republican Party has to lie, cheat. They're talking about ballot harvesting, stealing an election, doing the same thing that the Democrats did. But we the people, and to the Republic which stands, one nation under God, the God-fearing people of the Republic, we're going to just sit back. And it is what it is. So we have lived, outlived, the time. And the Bible basically sets the tone. So we really got to understand that moving forward, we're on to something. And we're not going to change the page. We're going to keep that same energy because without a shadow of a doubt, they're banking on us to just basically get discouraged and walk away. But there's no way. There's too many things left on the table. How are you bringing in 1.5 million in the southern border? And that's bigger than any major city outside of New York, Frisco, barely Chicago, LA, and Houston, Dallas. But see, these 1.5 millions of people being brought in are literally, what's the long term? Why would we want to have a southern border? We've been through 9/11. We've been through all of these things, and now it looks like they're replaying the same thing. So we can't just sit back and act like, we're not smart or we're not paying attention. And if you think about it, how did this happen before? See, our parents and grandparents wasn't privy to the phenomenon, which is the internet. So they just had these kitchen table conversations amongst each other. So now we can actually get out there and have the conversations by the masses, because I'm here to warn you, okay? Do not vote for no Democrat. Do not vote for no Republican, okay? Write in your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and we're going to sit back, because whichever party win, then we the people, to the Republic which it stands, will have the power to influence the lawmaker and have the power to influence legislation. But one of the parties got to go, okay? Our ancestors was recruited by the Republican Party so we can actually defeat the Democratic, Dixiecratic South, and we did that. So how is it that the fact that the descendants of the soldiers, the descendants of the Union Army, the descendants of the Buffalo Soldiers, how is that we are in bed with the Democratic Party? I've been in, good relationships and I've been in bad relationships, but this is a bad relationship that has to end. So at least the black man is seeking a divorce from America, because she, be poisoning us. She be, picking our feathers while we sleep, meaning we ain't gonna be able to fly. She be taunting us, and if we turn around and do something to her, they got a prison that they will throw us under, because that's the long game for them. Mass incarceration, which is nothing but modern day slavery due to the criminalization clause. So if you think we are free, Google that. And I'm gonna say this again, Google it. There is no way. We are literally basically doing the same thing over, and now we got an opportunity to fix it. And like I said, God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge, and we are not here to change them, okay, but to fulfill. And that's going to come, us as being whistleblowers, truth tellers, and to pick the mantle up that was basically taken, from the civil rights leaders in the 60s to now. Now we get an opportunity to do it. And this is what it looks like. So civil rights movement 2K, and when I checked, the LGBTQ community got championed, the trans community got championed. Now even the pets, got championed, because you will probably get in more trouble by physically abusing a dog than actually shooting a human being. For real. So the dogs is, got their rights. So they'll do anything rather than champion the black man. So now they're bringing in hundreds of thousands of men from third world nations. And right now they're coming from Venezuela to come into this country to do what? To be a part of the party that's ruled by the devil. Because the black man is the curse is over. They literally know everything that we know, okay? They're forecasters, they're strategists, they're scouts. So who's, looking out for us? This is why the motivation today came from me taking an understanding and knowing that no one is at the wheel. So if no one's at the wheel, that means a black man is in the driver's seat, and a black man gets an opportunity to close racial matters and to end the chapters of race in America so we can have the class conversation. Oh, and it's going to come with a cash payout. And if you are an elected official and you're not down with cash payouts in the form of reparations, we will get you out of office, okay? We know that there's a, AB 3121, which is Assembly Bill 3121, which is for land, but HR 40 is for cash payouts, okay? So now it's time to have this conversation. And then we were a baseball team, okay? The bases is loaded and we on deck, and the first pitch is a fastball. So what we gonna do with that? So I'm just challenging you today to really understand that we can't be left, we can't be right, we gotta be straight. So use that hashtag straight politics so we can actually, create an algorithm and really, get this digital platform out there, because God's people is not going to perish due to the lack of knowledge. And YouTube has promised that they will not interfere this time around as long as we're telling the truth. So with that being said, man, I'm pressed for time, and hit that like, hit that subscribe, share. This is the only way I can continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not asking you for a nickel or a dime. I'm just asking you to hit that subscribe, like, share, okay? And I'll keep these things coming regardless. But we're gonna figure this thing out, because God's people shall not perish due to the lack of knowledge. This is Straight Politics with your man, Bouchon Glover. And democracy is dead in America, and it will be buried with the sitting president right now. With that being said, man, have a good day. I'll tap in with y'all next time. Peace out. This is your man, Bouchon Glover. Peace out.